Well, hello everyone. Here you show you right here. Talking about for now hiring right here, and these right here are supposed to be examples right here of like talk about for a profile, right? And so it sure seems that way that each time we look at any source of a job application, that you're gonna maybe see something like this to where talk about for hiring immediately, and as well as that the details right there for apply today and all that. But it sure seems that way that yeah, but how many times are we necessarily gonna think about this to where that yeah, you think about the job details right here and then the promotion right here. But let's just say that if one of those is maybe going to be to where you apply yeah, ASAP or something like that. Now accepting AP right here, and so a lot of times you want to know too that how do you handle situations like that whenever it comes to applying for a job, or like whenever if there's going to be a company that's going to be in hiring for somebody immediately, candidate immediately, and a lot of times you want to know too that what your responses usually are about that, and so a lot of times it sure seems that way that what that usually means is that they're looking into hiring somebody within the first 3 days or so after a job opening is so it's like you're likely 102 that whenever you do find a job a lot job opening somewhere, then a lot of times it sure seems that way that yeah, well really that there are certain jobs like me, a lot of times I can even tell everybody too that whenever you get real aggravated about a lot of the job stuff nowadays, it sure seems that way that really why do you even call them jobs, and especially whenever you don't even always get a call back about a job opportunity, and also about the jobs that there is a lot of jobs out there that do inquire you to follow up with your profile page and also your email, and then also anything about what you call a job assessment, and so that's why it sure seems that way that whenever you do get a return back about a job opportunity, then it seems like that yeah that are you do you have everything there, and so that's the first thing that you're going to be thinking about a lot of times whenever it comes to job interviews, and as well as that any source of training, right, and any source of assessments or something like that, and that's why it sure seems that the first thing that you do want to think about whenever we think about jobs a lot of times is that really what does belong to you out of all the categories. Another thing that I want to talk about, everybody here talking about, is to where the things to be grateful for. So let's just say if it's the 10 topics, 10 things to be grateful for. So a lot of times it seems like that every time we think about a job opportunity, right? We think about a job opportunity that you're already thinking too that okay, you think about the job opportunity that you're really are going to be thinking about either the paycheck, or you're going to be thinking about stuff like yeah, well, how do you know if this job is right for you or something like that, and so that's why it sure seems that way that every time you read the details about the job description, that you get to, this bad feeling about, okay, do you want to go any further in the application, or that you may decide not to go any further in the application. So let's just say if you're going to be reading the job description, and let's just say that a few things in this category right here that you're not looking forward to, and so it's like you're going to read it through these paragraphs right here, and want to know too that a lot of details in there that you really are not wanting to look forward to, and you got right there that, and then you have right here talk about for selling things, and so I talk about for if it's digital coupons and all that, but still that I just really want to mainly talk about right here, and also talk about for caution and warnings, and also cancellations right here. But it sure seems that way that when we speak about job applications a lot of times, that when we talk about really any source of application, but I'll even tell everybody here too that you get real aggravated about them, just because of one of those reasons is because of the fact that a lot of those applications that do take about 20 to 25 or maybe 30 minutes of your time, and a lot of times it seems like that you may or may not get the job, and so that's why it seems like that's really what's really aggravating about is to where really that when we think about a job a lot of times that we're going to maybe be thinking as to where that what really belongs to you that maybe the company for sure that the company needs, that you have the skills and ability to do this job. And also another thing that I want to mention, like besides confidence, though, is that are you how well that like if you have anybody to give you a good reference and maybe to refer you, based on from your previous job or something like that, and so it sure seems that way that every time we think about job assessments, though, that the first thing that you're going to maybe think about is like your disability and all that, and so it sure seems that way that every time you think about that, though, and the 102 is toward it, really, why do we even call them jobs? And then I can also put on here that, see here, if I can just, like maybe the yellow note or something like that, why even call them jobs? Why even call them jobs if there is a less than a 40% chance that you're going to get a call back, or something, a 40% chance that you are going to be hired? So a lot of times it sure seems that way that you're going to maybe be asking questions like that about as toward why even call them jobs? Why can't you call them stuff like maybe if it's a task or duties or something like that, maybe a call on for employment or something like that. But in case of anybody that may want to know too, that there's a difference between the types of jobs to where that the ones that the employer only needs you, and then I know I can maybe guess maybe a little bit of why that the employer only needs you to work for 4 days, and something came up, and that they're only going to need you to work this task for 4 days, and then maybe for 5 hours, and so it sure seems that way that when we think about the employment status a lot of times, it sure seems that way that you really have to have a calculator and maybe anything such as maybe documentation all that ready. And every time you think about a job application, that there's something else missing about that, to where the fact about that they're going to be asking you, the company's going to be asking you questions like if you're authorized to work in the United States, and also that if you are available to work Fridays and weekends and holidays, and those sorts of questions. But really, that name one job application to where that they're going to maybe be asking you, like everybody else would say too, do they really ask you very many personal questions, and such as to where that when was the last time that you had to go on from the last time that you maybe had to had surgery or go on any sorts of a paid leave or something like that. So let's just say if that's the case, to where if you're going to be checking your employment status, and let's just say that if it's maternity leave or something like that, so it sure seems that way that a lot of these jobs are going to probably be asking the questions mainly because of the fact that if they're going to be counting on you to take care of these tasks. You're the high demanding task a lot of times, and a lot of times you want to know too that whenever you do take on the job opportunity, that there's going to be a lot of things that you're not going to be looking forward to. But still, the 10 things that I can mention on here about the things to be grateful for, and you'll want to know too that you're the things that may not even be on your profile on your resume. Is that the fact about that the things that you are grateful for, and one of those things will maybe be about other than maybe if it's insurance, but the things that you are pretty confident in learning about. So let's just say that on average that talk about for the call of the gift of the kindness right here, but let's just say that that if I were to include right here that on my disability form right here is that that you are grateful for the blessings to where that grateful for that that you're great the knowledge the knowledge that you learned you were able to learn even when times did get tough, when times did get rough, and so it sure seems that way that why is it that why do you think that maybe that would be a question of the matter? And for anybody that may want to know too, that whenever you're going to be applying for a job, that you want to know too as to where really that you're going to have questions being asked, right? But a lot of times you want to know too that whenever you do fill out an application, that it's like you want to know too that really that I have experience working in this type of field, but at the same time, it sure seems that way that the companies are going to maybe be picking their candidates within certain times or so of the hiring period, and then let's just say that that one of those hiring periods is maybe going to be about that they're looking to hire somebody within 2 weeks timing, and want to know that who is the best match based on their qualifications and their experience, and so maybe that's a little bit of reason why that we say is that that whenever we talk about an application, that that there's what's called the best match, to where that okay, well really I think that you fit very well for this job, and knowing about all the tasks that need to be worked right, and so it sure seems that way that when we think about what is the problem, and that no problem at all, and you're always want to know too is toward it. Do you think that is do we think this should be business related? So a lot of times it sure seems that way that that every time we think about it, number one, and people probably thinking too that every time you think about that talk about for business related, that you're always probably thinking about that too, to where that whenever something gets to be too hard and complicated, and you're always going to be wondering toward it, why is it? Why you begin to wonder why you even volunteered, because you didn't know how hard it was going to be, or you might even think too that that hey, that you seen the sign on there that says now hiring, but it sure seems that way that there's a lot of things that you missed about it, and one of those things that you did miss about it is about the fact about that a lot of things that you missed about this job here is to where that that one of those things, of course, is that having a lot of knowledge and experience with the equipment that they're wanting you to work on, or something like that, or being familiar with a lot of the tasks and all that. And so that's why it sure seems that way, that every time we think about an application, that we're not just talking about maybe like Apple company, and like yeah, well really that when we do think about this job here, that all you really need to do, if anything, is just hang on to the documents, the paper documents, or hang on to the folders or something like that. But it sure seems that way, that every time we think about a job, that it seems like it's almost like that, to where that, yeah, you're going to have times where those times are going to get tough, and whenever they get tough and the tough get going, that it sure seems that way, that, really, that, whenever you do think about that, whenever you think about is toward it, you try to take one thing at a time, and you try to ease your mind of all the stress and anxiety that goes on. And so it sure seems that way, that you just really want to think about is toward the things that you're grateful for. The top things that you're grateful for. And I can even put that down right here. The top things to be grateful for. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for whenever it comes to jobs? Whenever it comes to anything important that you're trying to take care of, what are you grateful for? Everybody else might even say that, yeah, well, I'm grateful that I have a car. I have a car. A lot of people would maybe say that they got a car. A lot of people would say that, you got a good, loving, supporting friends and family. Good, loving, supporting friends and family, and support, the support that you're getting from everybody else, and supportive, supportive team. And you say that, yeah, a lot of people would say that you got a good, love and supportive team. Something to be grateful for. And another thing also is toward that, a bright education. A bright education. So how bright is your education? Like everybody else would say too, that do you really want to put that into any sort of scenario? The things to be grateful for. The things to be grateful for. Just think about that. The things that you're grateful for that really are keeping your motivations going. For how stressful things get, that the things that you're grateful for. And that, like everybody else might say, they're grateful to have, the children, to have the family, and maybe to have something that you've really been waiting for. And so that's why it sure seems that way, that the top things to be grateful for. And people might say that, well, it's not money, it's not no credit card or nothing, that you're thankful for that. But maybe I am thankful for a good education. Maybe I am thankful knowing that the resources that I do have, the resources that I have now, that were very limited, from the very beginning. So it sure seems that way, that the resources that we have nowadays, including smartwatches and tablets and all that. But it sure seems that way, that when we think about our resources now, that it's like, you 102, that the one of the things that you're really grateful for. But I'll even tell everybody here, to where thankful to the resources that I discovered. So a lot of times I always think about that, to where what's one thing that really keeps you motivated, to where it helps you concentrate more, and the things that keeps you calm during the most stressful moments. And like everybody else might say, is toward that whenever times do get tough, that the things that you're grateful for. And so it's like a lot of doctors would even say too, that the resources to discover, right? Something that you made at your own time, and toward that you're thankful for. thankful and grateful for. So so those are the things that I would have to talk about, and just knowing about with me that every time we think about that though, and you're always want to know too that yeah, well, it's a lot of those things seem to appear just like magic. They all seem to appear like magic. Those air filters and maybe the any other source of medical research or something like that, and a lot of stuff appears by magic. Well, guess what? People can maybe even say too that a lot of things, a lot of things that we are getting now, and a lot of things that we developed within over time that you just think about it as to where that a lot of that stuff, that a lot of the resources that we are getting now that we didn't have access to back then, and so yeah, the things to be grateful for. It's something to think about. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.